Activists and protesters are denouncing President Trump's latest efforts at restricting radical Islamic terrorists from entering the U.S. One America's Pearson takes a closer look at the media's claims that the president is simply targeting Muslim-majority nations.
President Trump's travel restrictions have been met by violent opposition from liberals and activists who fiercely denounce the order as a Muslim-majority ban. However, the temporary travel restriction targets just 6 nations, leaving over 90% of the world's Muslim population free to visit the U.S. There is also a fine line that tends to be ignored in most reports. The nations being targeted aren't simply Muslim-majority, they're actually Muslim nations. The Islamic Republic of Iran, for instance, is an Islamic theocracy, and its laws are taken straight out of the Quran. In fact, the leader of Iran is a top-ranking Muslim cleric. To avoid backlash following the new order on Monday, Secretary of State Rex Tillerson explained why the new travel guidelines are so important.
While no system can be made completely infallible, the American people can have high confidence we are identifying ways to improve the vetting process and thus keep terrorists from entering our country. To our allies and partners around the world, please understand this order is part of our ongoing efforts to eliminate vulnerabilities that radical Islamist terrorists can and will exploit for destructive ends.
But Iran isn't the only Muslim nation to rely on the Quran. For example, all the countries listed in the new executive order officially practice Sharia law. That means that in countries like Iran, women are required by moral police to wear a hijab or face legal penalties. But in President Trump's first executive order on travel, Islam isn't even mentioned. Yet, Islam and Islamic terrorism are prevalent in these countries, and in Somalia, al-Shabaab terrorists claim the Sharia code isn't extreme enough. And in Yemen, where much of the country is controlled by al-Qaeda, denouncing Islam is punishable by death. Not only are these Muslim nations, but other religions such as Christianity are brutally persecuted in countries like Sudan, where even foreigners are forbidden from celebrating traditions like Christmas. In Iraq, which has been removed from the president's travel order, the Constitution states that no law can be created that contradicts any part of Islamic tradition. And while Islam remains an inextricable part of the targeted nations, the nations are not being targeted because they are Islamic. And despite claims of racism from the left, it should be noted that Islam is a religion, and no race has ever been mentioned in the travel restrictions. In fact, 44 other Muslim nations were completely left out of the executive order, leaving hundreds of millions of Muslims from around the world free to travel and live in the United States. Pearson Sharp, One America News.